Hello, everyone. Hope you're all doing well. Myself, Manpreet Singh. I'm a senior architect at Cognizant, and I take care of all modern workplace. And I'm also an MVP in MCT. Today, I'll be talking about how you can extend your Copilot using Copilot Studio, and who isn't talking about it. I think that's the very niche topic. I have been jumping on meetings to meetings every day, and I hope everyone is doing the same, because extending Copilot will be the next thing, as it came in as a Copilot as a single platform, which can bring in the Gen AI capabilities right on your Teams, PowerPoint, SharePoint, and was no ever of M365 product. This comes in as an add-on where you can manage, you can build over the Copilot. So that provides a Copilot a platform for developers when using Copilot Studio, where they can interact with the data, they can bring in their own models, their own LLM, their own SLM, and you can build an end-to-end product just using Microsoft Copilot Studio. I know it's hard for developers. Like I love Visual Studio myself too much. I would love to use a Teams toolkit and build something out, but to be honest, Microsoft Copilot Studio has brought in so clear vision with how the extensibility is going to be. It's very easy for us to navigate with Power Platform gateways and connectors and whatnot. So that's where the Copilot Studio comes in and supports Copilot. But when I come in here, talk about the architecture. Very well built in. The whole channel section where you can see and you can deploy your teams, Copilot to any other platform is possible. But as Microsoft wants Teams to be the first UI, and even I prefer that way. It's like the UI should be Teams, so where you can build a unified search experience for your employees to come into one platform and do all the transition. Copilot started with as a search engine, right? Like where we are building a search solution, we're getting data from third-party applications or in-house M365, and it's providing a generative AI on the search materials. But now with Copilot Studio, it's not just coming and discovering your search data, but also doing operations on a day-to-day activities. And I'm happy to say that there's a new feature which is coming as voice. We'll probably in next month or something, we'll do another podcast on that and talk about how the voice comes in as a Copilot Studio. But right now, the architecture is so well defined. Like you are attached to your M365 suite. You can attach your OpenAI models. You can attach your own personal models you have built in different platforms, LLMs or SLM, and you can bring that all hub of data through one single endpoint for your users, for your end users, which can be teams deployed as M365 Copilot. Now, next question people ask me is like, what if I don't want M365 Copilot, but I want all these capabilities, right? So there are a lot of variations of doing it. And uh, to be honest, many people have questions on Copilot and their licenses and their extensibility towards how the employee can actually well use it, right? And you will have all the data structure, analytics, and all in the backend to see how Copilot is coming in. But when you're planning to use or build a Copilot, you can always do that. Like, as I said, as a developer, I always prefer to have a Visual Studio out and deploy my own application. But with the Copilot Studio, when I'm able to do those, navigate those same single elements right on the studio, why not? Right? So the question like, should I build or extend? My answer is very simple for all of them. And when I go to the calls and somebody asks me the same thing, and so many people ask me the same question, like, should I build a custom map or should I go and extend using Copilot extension? I would say go with Copilot extension. Why? Because there are two things here. First is you're building a Copilot, you're getting all the added feature capabilities, which we are going to see quickly in a demo. And as part of Copilot extension, the Copilot Studio provides end-to-end connectivity with your third-party application, whether it's ServiceNow, Jira, Salesforce, or thousands of connectors which are in Power Platform are now part of your Copilot extensions, right? So you get thousands of connection. You have gateways to connect your on-prem or your cloud data. And so I would always suggest to go with the Copilot Studio and with the first instant, and then you can expand it. there's hardly any chance where I feel that you cannot get stuck. But yeah, if you have heavy LLMs and stuff like that in the backend, which you can integrate it through OpenAI, you can bring that OpenAI inside Copilot Studio. Yes. So if you have created a model as an service you're using, whether you're using Azure Cognitive Services, also called Azure AI Search now, or you're using a different search provider, you can integrate that through your OpenAI services and bring that to Copilot Studio. So in a way, you have your custom, you have built something really nice, and you can also interact that inside the studio. And moreover, people ask me, I have been using bots all of my life, and now how do I use that code and provide that Gen AI capability to it? That's also possible. You don't need to reconstruct everything. If you have everything built in, just add that layer of Gen AI through Copilot or OpenAI service, and you'll be able to get make your users enable to generative AI solution. So if you see, there are major three ways of extending Copilot Studio. Graph connectors, my favorite. I have a video on YouTube from Microsoft developers, and it was one of the first impact which I understood how graph connectors bring in. Bring in your data from any platform, any sources, any external providers or in-house content, and you can ingest your data inside Microsoft Search using Microsoft Graph Connector. Right? And that is secure, no worries about the compliance, everything is taken care of, and you have that incremental update on the search which reflects right on your M365 Copilot on the day one itself, as soon as the calling is done. Now, the second part is plugins. Plugins is where you don't want to bring your data to Microsoft Search, but you want them data to be searchable. You can just and every data source right now currently has API models where you can ingest the data inside. You can use those API plugins, build them up, and we're gonna see it's so quick and easy that you're gonna be observing them right on the system here as part of the Copilot Studio. Then the messaging extension comes in. We have all been building like Teams Toolkit, Teams app. You can build a very super simple messaging extension. And if I get some time, I'm just gonna show you how easy it is to bring in a Copilot message extension. Like 3 clicks, I'm opening a file, and you can try it at your own home. Go to Visual Studio Code, go to File, search for Copilot, and you'll be able to see a messaging extension right there and from the tool Teams Toolkit. So as I said, the first Copilot was bringing in the search capability, enhancing all your organization search and stuff, and with your web search capability right now, with the actions you can perform, the bot or the structure or the M365 chat you're planning will be used for doing operations like creating a ticket for your service now ticket, or creating your own prompts, or like there have been companies who are training their employees through Copilot Studio. Like there's a training module which is presented to the user. They submit their Q&A feedback, and then that AI comes in and tell them, hey, this is your assessment. You did really well. These are the improvements you require based on the data source you have. So those API plugins, connectors, and those transaction, right? You sending approval for a vacation will be also done by the Copilot or the Copilot extensions. Like you don't need a portal or a system to go into and then do a certain activities. Everything can be a UI unified engine through this. And then you have declarative Copilots for specific purposes. Again, from real use cases, so there are companies who are building Copilot Hub. They want to have domain specific or the department specific bots, which will have their own data structure or their own GPTs, which even Microsoft now. So they want to just don't have a. They want to have one as a unified engine, of course, and then they can have multi bots built through Copilot Studio, and then they can be a hub where they can host all of them together. So extending Copilot will be the next big thing, and in the next 1 year, and the next year when we meet at Microsoft Build, you're gonna see a catalog of connectors or built-in use cases which every organization would have developed. So let's see a quick demo on how we are gonna do it and how the new studio looks like. And I was lucky to present this at the Build. I got access to this, but now everybody is a GA. So if you can go to copilot.microsoft.com or web.powerva.microsoft.com, you'll be able to see the new UI of how the Copilot Studio looks like. It is beautiful, of course, compared to the last one, which was just 3 weeks ago. And you have a similar kind of a user experience what we have nowadays with Power Apps and Power Automate. I can describe and build a Copilot without a knowledge of how AI or structure works. You don't need one. So it is enabling every user to build a solution with directly on the system without the knowledge of the LLMs, MLM, or any other data models. Anyone can build a Copilot for yourself. So I think that's the whole logic of it. That can be a nice tagline. So this is how the year looks like. There are templates which have been provided for you to understand, like travel. As I said, there's a voice capability and weather, and you can build very quickly some easy ones through describing your Copilot. I'll skip the create, I'll go to the end, and then you have a complete section of all the Copilots. You similarly import it like a Power Platform, Power Apps through a different environments if you want to switch on. You'll also see a library which provides all the different actions or connectors you have enabled in your system. You can see all I have built in the last 1 month here, and more which so you can see all the connectors, conversational custom connectors. I've been showing data words today as well, like data words, and then your multiple prompts you're gonna build. And the moreover is you have AI integration, as I was talking about, with Azure AI Search or ACS or OpenAI and Copilot own SDK. So do try them when you have time. Yeah. And yeah, so I want to tell you this. It's 30 days free. So while you're watching this video, make sure you can follow up with me a little bit. And I'm going to create something and then try this. It's a 30-day free license with your E3, E5 license, and do play around with it. So understand how the AI and the Gen AI capability will work in your system. Now, when I go on create, so there are two options. One is you create a new Copilot, and there's a new Copilot action. So everybody gets confused, and they're like, so nowadays I start speaking like there is something called as M365 Copilot, and then there is something called as your own custom standalone Copilot. So there are two differences. Yeah. So when I talk about M365 Copilot, you can extend the beautiful Copilot which you already have on Teams with different extensibility through plugins and API connectors and stuff like that, right? But if you want to build your own Copilot first, and then that will be the hub house, which you can integrate also with the M365 Copilot. You have a publishing option there. That's also possible. So there are two ways of it. So if you don't have M365 Copilot license currently, you can build a new Copilot just using a studio. But if you have M365 Copilot, do deploy those plugins, those actions, and you will see the Gen AI capability more towards it. But again, I don't say that you don't see that on the custom new Copilot as well. So let's see the difference quickly, and I'll run down a quick demo and show you how easy it is to configure that, and we'll see it on real time. So I'll start with the new Copilot. So clicking on it, again, as I was saying, you can define what Copilot should do or how it should reflect. And so for me, what should I say? Like, all right, create a Copilot. Sorry, create a Copilot and build a hub for HR resources, right? Let's build something for HR resources. So many policies, so many documentation, and so I have a Q&A now with my chatbot, and it'll ask you, okay, to create, could you provide details on how will support will you look up for HR resources? It also provides me an hiccup, like a help, like, okay, what can I include here? It'll provide me a list. So if I'm a new user, I don't know what I can do. I can come in here, and it provides me like a deliberately answer. Okay, it's here. You can use this, and you can use that data. All right. So add SharePoint site as a data source. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to provide the input as a SharePoint data source, some data words. Great choice. Your Copilot will utilize a SharePoint site as a data source. So what it's doing is it's preparing a whole model, and then I'm gonna just go in and configure those small bodies, and I'll be all done. It's asking what to include here. Can you also add a data OS table? Right. All right. So it will again go and create those actions and topics required. Please provide any additional data sources. Now, I think what should be the tone? The tone should be friendly, or I can make it professional. It depends. But and you can make the guide noted. Your Copilot will have a friendly tone. Anything else? No, I think I'm okay. It also provide any tips, but I'll skip that. And you can click on create. And you can also, if you are a pro developer, you don't need to you can, talk to the pod. You can just click on skip to configure and click on create. So yeah, it goes. So I'm on my Copilot Studio, and we're gonna see how easy and quick it's going to be in me creating a pod in like 5 minutes with my data sources. Any data sources. All right, so this is how the new UI looks like, and as I said, it's amazing compared to the last one. I can test my Copilot here. I have my whole knowledge hub loading in. I can design it the way I want it to be. There can be multiple data sources. There's no constant of just one data source. I can have SharePoint data source, Oracle, Amazon, AWS, your databases, anything. So that definition of data, the restriction is not part of Copilot Studio. That's why I was saying, like as a developer, it's not it's fine if you want to develop something like this from the scratch in the code, which I'll also show you how easy it is. But if you still want to do it through your Copilot Studio, it's easily possible. All right. So if you see, the Knowledge Hub already got added, that data was stable at SharePoint site, but I'll walk you through how it looks like, the whole interface. And so here I can define my Copilot. I'll just put here build demo Copilot. I can put a description. I can change the icon, how my app is going to look like, because once you deploy that to the teams, the similar icon is deployed to the teams as well. So I'm good with that. Description, I just put for the build demo. Uh, really? All right. Instructions, AI features are enabled, so any instructions won't apply. I'm going to show you how to enable that as well. And then you have this knowledge hub, right? And I just have to click on it. You can see all these data connectors can be integrated to your Copilot by just a click. Initially, using graph connectors, we need to develop them and deploy them on the tenant, and then create verticals and design the verticals and then put them as a result type. So all things are gone. You just need to connect your data. That's it. Like structured, unstructured, structured preferable. I've seen that. Like unstructured data is it can connect. It can also provide. But to get the relevancy, exact data what you want, I would always prefer to put in the structured data. But if you have an unstructured, that's the power of GenAI. It is still gonna work amazingly well. And so I can add a number of available resources, and there's no limit. There's a limit on the Copilot Studio per license. You can only add 5 SharePoint sites, which is good if you're just starting on the project. And but if you want to add more number of SharePoint sites and hub and stuff like that, you can always add them to an OpenAI service and then integrate it to your Copilot. So there are ways, this way or that way, where you can integrate and extend it. But yeah, I can bring in the public website, I can bring in the file, I can do all these operations, Oracle, ServiceNow. I have configured one service. I'll show you that as well. So let's do quickly a couple of things here. I'll put a public website. Let me see. I'll put community days. I don't know if you are aware of this website. To go to this website, we host all community events there, uh, globally, worldwide. So I'll put that website here, and the community. And then I think I'll add some. I have tech platform here, which has all the blogs and articles. So that it's nicer to have all the content. So yeah, they have a lot of blogs and articles. I'll add that here. So these are public domain I'm adding, right? You can add your own company. So yeah, that's the first thing. So if you want to show this demo to your corporate or leadership, like why I want Copilot, first thing is just go build a simple Copilot, add your like company. Like I work for Cognizant, and your Cognizant website, and you will see the magic after that. So I'll just add Cognizant here as well. Uh, all right, so I'll just put this domain. Make sure your website, when you add, it has the www. I don't know, for some reason it takes it, but a little slow. But when I put the web interface there, and it's very, very fast. So, all right, I'm done. I can rename it, all the stuff, but I'm okay. I won't do that. Okay, so I have done with my public website. Very simple. And as soon as I add them, the ingestion starts in the backend, so I don't have to wait or something like that. Right? So then data was table. If I can click from here and get a data was right here, but it already added me. Okay, I'll do it here as well. So I can just go in there. If you see, it shows me all the data was table which are available here on the system, right? And I can just choose one of them and I can build in. I think I was gonna build something on the table here. Let me see. I have a custom one which I built in. Uh, was it project tracker, conference and 10 days? Okay, MWP client details, right? Yeah. So I'm gonna go back to this. I'm gonna search for MWP. All right. So this is a table I created using Copilot. Again, I know. So creating content through GenAI and then using the same GenAI to it's perfect for a demo. Yeah. But if you already have this data warehouses, data structures you're built in, like if you're using Dataverse, for example, you just come in here with 3 clicks. I am gonna add a Dataverse table here, and this is what my data table looks like. It's all dev test data, and there you go. And I can just put knowledge name. I'm all okay. I can put some synonyms if you want it to Copilot to retrieve data. So there are like I always prefer, and I had a talk with the engineering team. Can I like at the rate at call my connection? But that might be shown in one of those previews we'll see. But you can provide more number of synonyms so that it picks up the data from that particular table you're looking for. For me, as MWP client details, I remember this. I'll copy this and I can use that. So click on add and review, and in less than some seconds, it should be fetched. All right, there you go. So I added a Dataverse connector here. Now I can add like maybe one side of SharePoint. I have it right open here. I just uploaded some files, some policies to just have some content on my site. So you can see it's all uploaded last night. And I'm gonna use the site and publish it. All right, there you go. And I click on add. All right, so lovely. Then second part is once I'm added with the knowledge, second part is topics where I can create an action. But like before that, I'll show you this knowledge section. So this is how it looks like. I've added these 3 as data sources. The number of data sources you look like looks is gonna change. And I also have one with service now. It's gonna take a while because you need to enter the credentials. But again, that's also quick and easy. I just have to click on it. And if I just want to get my service now tickets, service now tickets. So you can just click that graph connector built in and quickly add it. Is this that simple? All right. So we just finished creating knowledge and from with databases. Now comes the topics. Topics is where you're gonna be creating those conversation between you and your employee that the UI is gonna be creating it for you. And everything through Copilot Studio. So you have an option to create a topic through blank or with a Copilot description. So of course I'm gonna use Copilot. Who has to do a hard work when you have AI to do it? So I'm just gonna create HR policies here. Create a topic. Okay, create a topic for employee onboarding in the company. So usually what happens in the onboarding process is how you have been provided some 10,000s of PDF files which need to go through, and then you need to request access and get those meeting invites set up and service now credentials or whatever. All the and this model, everything can be done using the topics writer. So as I was saying, the Copilot is just not a search extensive platform. it is gonna be used for building those extensions, those activity which every employee uses for a day-to-day activity. So so similar way I can come into the topics. I'm creating a whole process here using Copilot, like for an employee onboarding, and then just click on create. The Copilot itself will understand and help me create those topics which are related to onboarding process, and I can define it. Like if you say there are HR policies which get created. Welcome to a company. We are excited, and it provides me examples of what are the things I can do it, right? All right. So when I ask a question about the user, okay. So I'm just clicking on those questions, and I'm getting that input from the Copilot topics here. Uh, let it click, and I click on it. What we added, it's added. Welcome to a company. Then I can add what do you want to do. I can add a list of questions required for onboarding. Mhm. All right, so Copilot comes in again. It provides me more examples. Okay, what is the full name? What is your job title? What is your start date? To complete your onboarding, we need some. So it provides me the generic Q&A and plus more detailed knowledge, like which I can summarize it and stuff. Preferred contact method choosing from email. So it starts building up a whole topic between like a user talk, and then over to it I can build actions. Like for example, it asks me what is job title, what is the start date. Based on the start date, I can ask the questions. Yeah, do you want me to provide you access on service now, right? So I'm creating the story, I'm creating the user story, and options for users will be yes, and then I'll put the option yes please. So just for having fun here. So the variable gets choice, and then I can go and create a service now access for the IT team to go and create one. So what once I get that yes or no based on the condition, like okay, this is yes, this is no, I'll create a new one like an action here, add a condition, call an action, and I'm gonna create connected. So if you see, I didn't cover this up. So actions again, this is where the process is gonna get extended to do actions on not only M365 platform but various different platforms you have, whether it's Salesforce, ServiceNow, or you have those third-party applications which have API. Anything with API is can be connected. Right now, we are using connectors through Power Platform Gallery, and you can understand that thousands of already connectors built in. So when I look for call to an action, and like I'll just create a service now, for example, service now, and I'm looking for create a ticket. I will create a record, and I get that input right here. So that tickets can get created with the input. Hey, there's a new joinee. Can you please provide them with access on the service now platform or something like that? That comes in. And if the whole organization is using some certain plugin, you can create those plugin right on the system, which can be like for example, sending him a welcome email, and that's a plugin you're gonna use it for so many stuff. You can add those plugins right on the system. So in a way, once I'm done with all the operations, I can click here. I go to Copilot. I can if I have to extend it, I can extend it more if I'm okay with it. You can do a topic check similar way we do. There's no error. I'm all good, and I click on save. Right, and we'll try to test it here. I can use one of the phrases, but uh, it doesn't require that to be honest. Like because the Gen AI capability helps to understand. Okay, help me to know HR policy. Sometimes it takes a minute, but because I just created it, so but I'll try it once and the next day. Uh, all right, so it just kicks in. Welcome to a company, and it provides me see the connection. It clicks in, and then what is your full name? It's asking my full name. My full name. That's what it's saying. All right, and then it goes me what is your job title. So you can see the action going between the track between the topics, and I can always change the topic. Like I'm talking about, like if I enable this track between the topics, I can do much more operations, which we will be deploying it in the system. So what is the job title? I'm an architect, and do certain activities, and again, so what is the start date? It was today. And all right, do you want me to provide you access to the service now, which I just created? And I click on yes, it goes to service now, which I'm not configured. But yeah, you understand the whole concept of how the topics works, and the action helps them to navigate and do those operations, right? Yes, so that is where the actions comes in. Now, let's go to the actions here. Create your first action. There's so many actions. Like you already have a list of actions you can create. It can be sending as simple as sending an email after the transition is done, or updating a column, or updating a row, or something like that. Like and when I talk about ServiceNow or third party providers, all are inbuilt as part of the actions, which you can record, create, and use it throughout the Copilot Topics Studio. So if there are topics which demands you to create a help desk ticket after certain steps, you can use the same actions a number of times, and it will go and provide and take that input and create it. So it is that easy. Like if I click on create record, let's do it very quick. By the time it loads in, that now the major part of having ServiceNow characters or topics or is it's like you're bringing a unified engine for your all to-do activities for your user. Right now, what will happen is like I had to go to ServiceNow and create those tickets. Hey team, can you please provide me access? Right now, if you see, I'm just clicking on user authentication. I can configure this, how the plugin action name has all the stuff, and I can just click on next. And if you see, it provides me what are the requirement. Like the body will be my description of the ServiceNow ticket. I can collect more information like what should be the severity of a ticket, how I can collect those inputs from the users, and then I can push it to ServiceNow with the column, and they get a trigger. And then the ServiceNow mechanism is its own, like they receive a new ticket, and then the processes and the workflows which ServiceNow has follows on its own. So if you see, in so quick and easy ways, I've been able to connect to data sources. I've been able to create topics which can interact with you and then do actions for you right through Copilot Studio, right? All right, this is good. Based on the time, I won't configure it for now, but I'll just show you. I have it one built in for you. And then the major important part is the analytics, right? Uh, After the Copilot has come, and it's like a little pricey, I would say, but based on the usage, when you actually start using it, you're saying the price is very negligible because the interface, the UI or the Gen AI solution, like right now, every content I actually have to find, I go to Copilot. Those were the days when I had to struggle with open SharePoint or open OneDrive and look for my content. Right now, I just go through Copilot and okay, here is my content. So it provides me all complete data factor. And in the backend, there's an admin backend which also provides the relevancy, adoption, and all this stuff. But this is for just this bot which is providing your information and stuff. Right. Now the major important part is the channels, right? So you created something, you have developed it, your topic is ready. Now you need to choose how do I deploy it and where do I deploy it. First choice, my favorite choice is team. Click on the teams, it gets deployed right. Let me first publish it. All right. And I'm gonna publish this, and I need to show you settings here as well. So it's similar like Power Apps, you publish it and it's ready for use from the same minute. So there's no the ingestion on the data can take some place. Hope I would have loved that they would have a progress bar showing completed. I'm ready. Let's rock and roll. But it's very quick. I think right now when I go and test and those data, it should be all in there. So you Copilot is saying publish. All right, it's done. A couple of settings before we go in, right here. So settings is what you're gonna build in. So I'm gonna rename it to build demo Copilot. All right. Icon is beautiful. Don't want to touch it. I click on save. Then I'll go to the next part here. AI integration tool. So as I was talking, this Copilot has its own AI model and stuff like that built on, of course, OpenAI services. And you can even bring your own Copilot SDKs, Azure OpenAI or ACS as part of the schema. And then generative AI. Now, this is very important. Now, whatever we build is beautiful. It's nice. It's trackable. I can do all the operation, but it doesn't have the generative capability yet. It shows in preview, but you can click on it. Uh, Now the Copilot will be a Gen AI Copilot. So I think that's the option which you need to select. And then the second option, it provides you a content moderation. Do you want very precise information, or it can be a little creative, and it's Copilot can help you to define and get more data input. Depends on you. Maximum times is high, and I also prefer that. Uh, and then you have the generative preview enable, and you click on save. Few more options on the settings you need to take care. Security, sharing, you can invite people to come and use it. Authentication is with Microsoft, your data is secured, but there are instances you want it to be no authentication, like you're gonna use it or deploy this to a web app or deploy this to a website, internet, and anything, and you can do no authentication. But if you're using it internally on the Teams platform, authentication with Microsoft is perfect, right? Web channel security, there's a fine, the secret keys which you want to use it, and the like skill list. All right. Entities, not much. You can create more entities, but it's all coming from Dataverse. So if Dataverse has it, maybe have. Skills. Now, skill is again another way of automating your series of action. Like we were doing an onboarding process, it can be a skill and like define every single step, and then the Gen AI capability can define it much more in a better way. And the language right now is just English for the voice support, but you can do soon it will be expanded. As we know, Microsoft is gonna make it all inclusive. So if you see, these are the different languages, second languages which are gonna come from. All right. And the language understanding, yes, as I said, you can bring in your LLMs and SLM and make it more powerful. You don't have to reverse it the other way. You don't have to go start with Copilot Studio. Uh, So now I'm done with this. Let's go back to my board here. Okay. So, okay, everything looks good. I'm done. I have published this. Okay. Hold on. Did I click on it? All right. Yes, I did. I think I clicked on it. So I click on publish. Or I could choose publish to make it all action. Yes. So my now it will be a Gen AI pod which I'm deploying here. And again, I was saying the two ways of it. This what we develop is a Copilot standalone application. Okay, this is Microsoft Copilot, which we have built, and we have extended it to different platforms, whether we brought in data from third-party providers, public websites, ServiceNow. And once I'm done, I just click on the channels and I can choose where to deploy it. And I'm just gonna go on Microsoft Teams. All right. But yeah, again, if you see, there are so many ways where you can define it. I just click on turn on Teams. I just need to turn on, and it's right there. So simple. Those were the days when we used to use those emulators and create those bots and then test it out. Like I can do the testing right here on my Teams here. So my Teams just load in. Wish I could show you the screen, but I get that add an app as an option, and I click on adding. And once I add it to the bot, and here you go. All right. So what we did was we built a whole Copilot platform and we have published it. It takes a while for the ingestion to come in. Once this ingest will go back, but I have already built a system for you to show how easy it's gonna work in. But before I show you that, let's ingest. Let's take this time. I will show you. Now we saw one option of building a Copilot standalone system. The second one is where you are gonna extend your M365 Copilot with a plugin or an action or an API. So this is how it looks like, and you can identify it with the logo. All right, I'm building over Copilot. So now you click on new Microsoft Copilot action. You have two options: Copilot for M365, Copilot for Sales. I'm gonna click on Copilot for M365. All right, now you have two options here again, four options here again. You can build a action using connectors, which is a gallery of Power Automate stuff. You can create some conversational ID, which you can talk about it. Prompts, you can have your own prompt, and then you can, of course, kick off a flow and do a multiple transition. I'm going to quickly do a connector here. You can click in a connector, set up your data warehouse. Your connector can be anything. It can be a graph connector or something by the time it loads in. So if you have a graph connector which is already deployed, you can bring in as an M365 Core plugin. So you don't need to redevelop anything and everything. So here you go. You have so many options of bringing the data inside. It can be SharePoint, connectors, n number of connectors, as I said, like thousands of connectors, whether it's ServiceNow or something. For now, I'll bring in SharePoint. The action name is SharePoint. So, or I'll change the action name to something else, like data, data warehouse. Right. Data warehouse solution. I can use one of the solutions. If not, it will create one of its own. So I'm just clicking on saving. And there are some of the configuration actions I can do, like get permissions or get sharing or get list view, creating a new item. I can do all those stuffs here. When a file is created or modified, do this operation. So you get the whole Power Platform gateway connectors here, right, on the system, where you'll be able to do systems here, connecting all the stuff. So like we'll do create a new SharePoint site, for example, right? Uh, where I'll just search for it. And I'm gonna come in here, create a site, cancel a hub site, join a hub site or something like that. Or I can even do create a new item. So that will provide us, okay, for a selected item, what is the operation I need to do? When an item is created, do this. When an item is modified, you can do that. So I can put up a plugin action. So when an item is created, do this. My next will be parameter description. I'll provide item creation. And I click on next. All right. So the connection is gonna be created, and then I'm gonna be talking about similar way. I'll come and do this one. I just need to do one. Like you can do multiple operations rather right on the connectors. But second one I'll do it is a gallery. Let it just plug in. So I'll click on create here again. I'll click on the new Microsoft Copilot action, Copilot 365, and I can either do multiple in one section or I can do I'll do one conversational. So I'll create one conversational part. Action 3 converse underscore build. Click on create. Just creating a conversational action for me, and then I can do an operation. I can build a story over it and commit. So I'm gonna refine that. I'm gonna create that as a topics. So converse build is part of it. So what it does, I can do add an action or add a generative, right? So I'll just put add an action. Get me info on Microsoft build. Right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a generative part, call an action. So here, generative answers. So when I choose generative answers, my whole data sources can be anything. So I can define the data node. It can be SharePoint, Outlook, or I'll just define Microsoft build to be a data source. Actually, here you go. I'll use this and build.microsoft. So it's loading in. All right, let's come in. I got this. So adding knowledge, I'm adding a public website. I'm putting build.microsoft.com. So it identifies all the resources. I can also add another site, which I was talking here. Add a public website. Okay. So this, what I'm building is gonna be attaching to Microsoft 365 Copilot. Okay. Before what we built was your own standalone port. Okay. So I've added that. I've added a generative source. The input will be the system activity from text. All right, and then I'm all set. And I can add multiple data sources. I can also define, add knowledge. I can have my content moderation, classic data. I can put SharePoint, public websites, and all the stuffs here. But I'm not gonna do that. And I click on advanced. So just want to show you how the deployment is done here. And the topic here will be build events. All right. And when I click on it, I publish this. You're gonna see that soon on the Copilot as a plugin coming in. So I'll just click on publish. Status is yes. Did I publish the last one? I don't think so. All right. So by then, my incremental crawl happens on the connector, and I go in. Let's show you the themes, how it's gonna work in the real time case here. There's publishing, but I am fine. I'm gonna show you this. So this is how the Copilot looks here on the Teams here. If you don't have a chance and if you don't have a license, this is how it's gonna look like. This will be a part and parcel of your day-to-day activity. As is for me, I'm on my dev tenant right now, but if you see my like work tenant, you will see my Copilot to be everywhere with all my content every day to day, finding stuffs and looking for stuff, right? Similar way, I have built in multiple bots using the similar system what I was showing you right now. So let's talk about a Copilot picture. Right. So we just published a standalone Copilot app, and we just published a tenant, like a connector to M365 Copilot, right? Like now there are two ways of it. Like M365 Copilot will look similar like a plugin, which I have built in here, and you're gonna see the studio built-in coming in. And the second option here is what you have built in upward. So I'm gonna show you whatever we built is gonna take time to publish. Sometimes the ingestion takes place, but I already built something for you guys to watch over it. So this is our Copilot, and this is our M365 Copilot, right? So we connected it with my ServiceNow instance. So very quick, as you saw on the screen, it took me hardly a minute for me to connect to the ServiceNow connector. So if I ask what is the status of the incident, let's see, it's one is ServiceNow. And if you see, I'm just talking to my bot, to my buddy, to my Copilot, and I'm getting information from there rather than me focusing and opening a different platform. So I'm not wasting time. And so the voice call, which I'm waiting for, like I just need to speak like we speak to Alexa. So the current status of incidents is this. It provides me that information here, right on the screen, right? All right, and it also provides me a link of okay where I should go to for the data for the document. All right. Second one I want to show is like the SharePoint we chatted, right? Okay, so what there were I'll just show you the SharePoint quickly so that you understand the policies which we have built in here. So I put in some demo content, vacation policy, right? Let's check with vacation poly. Can you provide the information on the vacation policy? So the Gen AI is taking a spot. It's gonna go search for the content and get me all the relevant context in the current in data source which we provided. See, it provides me what's approved on this and this stage. Here's a summary of vacation. And there are different variations of the human policies which we added, like a handbook of samples. It provided me all the information. But if it's relevant to your company, to your organization, you can check with them. So as you see, there are all the different multiple data warehouses coming in the picture. Good, right? So getting that data from ServiceNow or getting that data from SharePoint is all part of the index which we did on the M365 Copilot role. Now, when you come to the actions of the preview, you can similarly to create a new action or something. We connect it to Dataverse. Remember, right? Like, so I have a similar one here. We created for my Ops Copilot. Now, what can I help you with? Can you provide a the revenue of ABC company? So what I did was we connected to the Dataverse to that table of MWP accounts, and now I instead of opening that table or an Excel or a SQL table, I can just talk to my part. So the revenue of this company is 200K. So let's go back to that Dataverse to validate it, right? So it's very important for us to understand. So this is the table we have, MWP client data, and so if you see, it's just an Excel array of data, but I'm having conversation with my data and through right here. So ABC company, here you go. So I have the data, I have the revenue and stuff like that. So let's ask who is the POC of ABC, who is the POC of ABC company, and how much revenue did it made. It can help you to do prediction. What was the total for the year? What was the for the quarter levels? It depends on the data you have in the back end. The Copilot is gonna use your data and provide input from where you see the point of company for every company's company. All right, so it provides you that ingestion of the data directly from the input. Similar way, add a new account, right? Like I talked to someone over a call, and instead of me opening a portal where I'm going to add a new account in the practice, I can just add a new account. and I can make Copilot do that whole transition and get different activities. So if you see, I'm doing multiple topics, multiple actions, actions. Microsoft. All right. So I'm doing multiple actions, multiple integrations right from one UI, but just nothing but my Copilot. And you can do the similar transition on your M365 Copilot if you have a license. If not, the standalone system is a must try. Yeah, there's a lot to learn on the learn.microsoft.com. Make sure you open this link. There's has to do lab. There is a Copilot lab, and you'll have instance end running for together. But again, just to clear, there are two types of the M365 Copilot. One is deployed to your M365 Copilot. It's available on your Teams, Outlook, OneDrive. And the other one is the Copilot plugins, which you can deploy on the M365 Copilot. So two ways. One, you can build your own parallel system. One, you can integrate it with your M365 Copilot. So thank you for joining in today. That was it. And in the next call, we'll try to come in with more detailed products like UT Voice is coming new in Copilot Studio. That would be a nice one. So get in touch, and I'll see you again in the next video. Thank you so much.